Jeff. That's right, I said my name is Jeff. Jeff. That's good, son. It might be a little lyrically lacking.
This is Vik Sahay, and you are watching, in fact, the Jeffster Special on Chuck versus the podcast. Introduce yourself, Grayson.
I'm Eugene Edwards. I'm a musician on Chuck.
Hey, this is Tim Jones, composer for Chuck.
This is Scott Krinsky, and you're watching the Jeffster Special on Chuck vs. the Podcast.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, that red, white, and blue. And when the band plays Hail to the Chief, ooh, they pour the cannon at you, Lord. Good morning, Uncle Mr. Robot. Don't you mean too much anytime? Oh, you don't let it all hang out, fat bottom girls. You make the rockin' world go round. I bless the rains down in Africa. Gonna take some time to do the things we never had. Shot down in a flame orange. Check me now, but no truth. I'm going down in a blaze of glory. Lord, I never knew what a truth was, but I'm a devil's son. Throw me up down.
This is Gray,
This is Mel.
This is Liz.
and we want to welcome you to the Jeffster Special of Chuck versus the Podcast, episode 57 for Monday, May 24th, 2010, right after the season 3 finale of Chuck. How you guys doing?
I'm pretty stoked.
Awesome.
Yeah. And this is part 1, where we're going to talk to the actors of Jeffster.
That's right. We have Jeffster in the house. Vik Sahay and Scott Krinsky are with us to talk about what a good couple of years it's been for Jeffster.
So stay tuned. There's going to be a whole lot of stuff in this 2-part series. In part 1, we're going to have the actors. Part 2, we're going to have the behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to put Jeffster together, and that includes a bunch of exclusive behind-the-scenes content. So you're going to want to stay until the end of this. It's going to be awesome. And we're going to start with an interview that I had in Toronto with Vik Sahay about 2 or 3 months ago. You're going to love it. We're at the Riposato Bar here in Toronto, Ontario, and I'm sitting with Vik Sahay, who is graciously giving us some time for an interview.
I'm not gracious, but go ahead.
And actually, Vik was on the podcast a few months ago, in January. Actually, a pretty long interview with Mel.
It was endless. I was endless. She was succinct.
Yeah.
So it did not bode well for her, unfortunately.
And you gave nothing away.
Yeah, no, I have made a very strict policy. This is going to be tough for you too, Graham, if I can call you Graham, because I have a very strict policy about plot, because I want to tell everything, and yet I'm also the guy who thinks he wants to know everything, and then when I hear it, I'm viciously angry. So I just keep quiet. So let's pull some teeth here and see what happens.
Well, we're actually taping this in April, and this is going to air in June,
right?
After the finale. But I do understand, for the sake of the other people sitting here in this restaurant,
yeah, well, exactly. Obviously, these people are very interested in what I'm doing. They're all turned away drinking.
Yeah,
no mistake.
So, in your last interview with us, you said that in the beginning you almost didn't take this role.
That's true. That's very true. As I think I said to Mel, I was coming off the heartbreak of not getting the role of Morgan, and the damage to my internal organs that did made me kind of angry and blind to the potential of the rest of the script. And Lester was a tiny, tiny role. I didn't even note him the first time I read it. And so when it was offered, I was like wanting to get back to Toronto and lick my wounds, as it were. And so I said, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that. And my manager, again, brilliantly said, on God's green earth do you think you are to say no to anything at all? You're in no position. Shut your mouth, brown boy, and go do it. And I did, and it was obviously the best decision I was forced into ever. Really. Yeah.
Well, so obviously your character has expanded through the first season into the second season, but this is a Jeffster Special episode. And I do think that, at least as I watch the show, since Jeffster came, we see a lot more of Lester.
Right.
And so how has the advent of Jeffster changed your job description?
Well, it begins with what you're saying. Obviously, that Jeffster, in some manner or another, has gotten some traction, means that I'm in the episodes more. I think that Jeffster, what I feel about what Jeffster is that it's the kind of thematic extension of some of the mythology of the show's about kind of rising to your full potential, ordinary man going into extraordinary circumstances. And for Lester and Jeff, sadly, this is where they are at their most free. This is their superstardom, superhero world. And so it's kind of allowed me to, without consciously necessarily doing it, tap into the pipeline of what the show is all about.
Mm-hmm. So how does it feel to be more central to the show now? And particularly, you've been involved in some of the major crescendos, I would call them.
Right.
Say, for instance, Devin and Ellie's wedding.
Yeah.
You were involved in the taking of the Buy More.
Right. Taking it back.
And actually, some really climactic moments. How does that feel?
Well, as an actor, all I can do is deal with the kind of circumstances of Lester's world. And really, other than the moment, like for example, Awesome and Ellie's wedding, he doesn't know what's going on other than that he's going to perform at a wedding. And so my job is to just kind of play within his circumstances. And actually, it's one of the things that I have begun to kind of love about playing Lester is that his world doesn't change, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He does something and the next week he's kind of back in his world, but he has this amazing capacity to create mythologies in his own head about who he is. So he plays out these archetypes of savior and hero and rock star and bully and swindler and gambler and is changing hats all the time. But really, externally, he's back at the Buy More. He's just living in his postage stamp-sized universe. He's not actually going out around the world and doing these things. He's just kind of sitting inside his box and inventing and inventing and inventing and inventing. So in terms of your question, so what I like to do is avoid the question and then pretend I'm coming back to it. Really, it's great from an outside point of view, but being on the inside of it, his world, like I've said before, the show to me is called Lester, and so it's just about that. He doesn't see anything as climactic moments. I mean, obviously, the taking back of the Buy More, the Fortunate Son moment, it was him being the rallying cry, creating a revolution. But once that's done, he's kind of back to his nerd herd gig, as it were. So, as an actor, it's been great. It's been very cool to be part of the big episodes. But as a character, it's day to day. It's day to day.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciated the insight that you had with Mel when you talked about how your character is almost an antithesis for Chuck.
Right.
It's because of the opposing nature of your world versus his world.
Right.
It creates a lot of insight into Chuck, and in the show, it helps to illustrate the relationships. It helps to illustrate the situations.
Right.
I think what I appreciate about your character is that I could imagine Jeffster playing at a huge venue and having great successes.
Right.
And then you see Chuck get the girl, and you're just as jealous.
Yeah. I think that his relationship to Chuck is, as I've said before, an unrequited rivalry, and I think it'll never die. I think it's something that he is the antithesis to Chuck, because Chuck is effortless and Lester is absolutely effortful. He can't manifest anything in his life. He's a kind of a guy, like I've said, who's stuck and is his blood is flowing with negative energy, whereas Chuck is kind of flowing with positive energy. And so there is a definite kind of yin and yang. And I think in Lester you have the potential to illustrate Chuck's rise and who Chuck actually is, and whereas Lester is anything but what Chuck is.
How would you say from season 1 to now that the Lester character has grown?
He hasn't. He has not. He's ungrown. He's devolved. No, I mean, he's... it's a very good question. I think from the beginning, I bid onto something that was about this rivalry, about this desire to undo, to pull the string at the other people who are doing well around him. And I think that has not changed. It's grown. It's a
greater loathing, maybe.
A greater loathing, if you will. Not all of us can be so eloquent. But the Jeffster creation has given him a kind of focus, and I think that it's allowed him to put some of that negative energy into dealing with being a pseudo rock star, and so that allows some of the tension to be released in him. I think. That being said, I do think that if he would give it all up if he could just trip Chuck up. If he could take him down in some way, he would give it all up. Yeah.
So now we go on a little bit to the mechanics of Jeffster.
Behind the veil, the opening up.
And in particular, even as we tape this, Josh Schwartz has already been open about the fact that there's a music video involved.
Yeah,
in
why give everything away? Why give my stuff away? Give the other stuff away.
And some really interesting pictures. And so what can you tell us about what it was like to shoot that music video? I'm guessing it was your first music video.
It was my third, but I don't want to show the other ones. It was my first music video. I mean, it was part of the absolute mountain climb that this has been for me. I mean, it's been an absolute joyride, to be honest with you. And what's been amazing about it is that as I am kind of experiencing these things, these performing at Comic-Con and doing these songs and doing music videos, etc., for the first time, so is Lester. And so all I need to do, there's no acting involved. I can just kind of tap into his journey, tap that journey into where I'm at, and go. And I can kind of just jump blindly off that cliff and feel his fear and horror and madness and kind of execution, and let it be. When we shot that music video, they were like, and action. I had nothing planned, and I just jumped, as I'm doing now, poorly. It was a thrill ride, and it was absolutely terrifying. I mean, it feels redundant to say that Jeffster is terrifying for me, but it really, really is. But it's been incredible. Being a little away from it right now, it feels. I kind of miss the adrenaline rush of it, as it were.
And in your interview with Mel, you said you like to research your roles.
Yes.
Tim Jones told me that you're always prepared.
Right.
And now you haven't had a whole lot of musical training, I'm guessing.
You're saying that based on my singing voice, I take it. I have virtually none.
So talk about that preparation. What's involved in preparing for singing one of these songs, like Fortunate Son, for example?
Well, the ABC is at the very last minute, and I mean the very last minute, we get the song that we're going to sing, okay? And for me, obviously, that's pure panic, white, blanched sweat, angry at the producers for giving it to me last minute. And the first thing I have to do is listen to it and find the note. And I can't ever, find the note that I'm going to sing. And I know nothing about it. So Tim and his partner Gene helped me out with that. It's a matter of watching. I watch performance. I listen again and again and again. I live in an apartment in Los Angeles, and my neighbors can sing along with me. They were like, this song was better. You did a better job with this song than this one. Love Hurts did not work, but this was all right. And so it's literally about immersing myself in the world of that song and then tapping into what it means for me as quickly as possible, finding the notes, memorizing it, and then again, the key for me with this whole thing with Jeffster has been just not overthinking it, getting out of my head and diving and kind of giving her to the songs in a way that if I thought about it for a second, I would like shrink up and scurry away. So that's the kind of prep I do in my apartment, and then I go and record it with Tim guiding, and that's its own horror show, sitting in a studio with professionals listening to you. Kind of, you see them over the glass going, there's a pause, and they're like, we're gonna, it's just not. And I'm like, the tear rolls down my. How was that, guys? Good. Why were you slicing your throat then? So that's kind of the ABC of it, Though we try to do everything as quickly as possible in one take, even when we're recording, so it can seem as spontaneous as possible, sadly. I wish there was much more takes.
Yeah. Now, when you record, you mentioned that you have a guide track.
Yeah.
And this guide track sort of helps you to find your note.
Yeah.
And I won't mention the person who sang this particular guide track, but we have a very special privilege in that Tim has released.
That's just me. I honestly find that to be cruel, because the person who is doing the guide track is a professional, phenomenal singer. And you're going to hear that in relation to actually what aired, and that's cruel. There's a cruelty here.
Well,
Graham.
actually, with this particular guide track, it was one where the guide track singer wasn't able to sing high enough. And the story that Tim tells is that this guide track was sent to the network, and they actually were kind of scared because they had no idea how it was going to sound.
Right.
And so then when you recorded, because you have a higher voice than the person who sings the guide track.
Go ahead, say it, girlish.
You were able to nail the song.
Use the word girlish.
And so to talk about that, so did you hear that version?
Yeah, I did hear that version, but I'm in no position to ever go, hey, this sounds awful. I mean, I hear the guide track, and that all I can be is utterly grateful. I'm not ever going to go, yeah, listen, this guy could not sing it, but I could. I heard the version. I mean, he's got a more masculine, deeper voice than I do, and it's a very high-pitched song. And being girlish of look and voice, I was able to hit those notes. So, I suppose that's very flattering in a way, but see, the thing is that as an actor, you're kind of very protected from any panic that may or may not go on. So all I knew was at some point we got to go, and I went and recorded it. Hearing all that, I hope they see my value now. The girlish notes. I'm good for the girlish notes.
Now this is a spoiler, even as of the finale. Okay. But Tim also told us that there was some special content for the season 3 DVD.
Yes.
That Jeffster is involved in.
Right.
What can you tell us about that?
I don't know how to go about this. This is one of those territories where the teeth need to be pulled out because I feel like I should hold back. All I'll say is that as I'm, sort of describing how Vik went about putting together some of these songs, we'll get a glimpse into Lester and Jeff prepping a song.
That's great. That's
all I want to say. Maybe I've said too much. Oh my God. You'll have to ask the powers that be if I've said too much.
Mm-hmm. Now, Tim also mentioned something about...
What has Tim told you everything about me? This is just getting awkward.
Tim also mentioned something about a Bollywood version of something.
No, I have not heard that. Although,
okay.
I will say this. If that is true, or if there's anything about that, I would kill to do that. I think that that's the next step. Taking over the world.
Yeah. Stepping out of specifics.
Yeah.
How has Jeffster changed how people react to you on the street? I know you told Mel that people have a joy when they see you on the street.
I did not say that. I did not say joy. I said actually the opposite of joy, a hatred, because Lester's not a sweet, sweet character. Mm-hmm. But Jeffster, ironically, interestingly, has brought about a bit more joy. It actually, people seem to, I don't know why, but they identify on some level, it seems, with the train wreck that Jeffster is. Maybe they go, if those guys can do it, anybody can, and we can all live out our dreams. But it has upped the recognition factor for good and for not good. Is that your question, Ray? Did I interrupt you?
No, that's
come
it.
on.
That's it.
Come on, man. Be stronger.
Now, do you have time for a few fan questions?
Okay, absolutely.
Cool. Well, we have one from Julie.
Julie.
From France.
Sweet Julie. Bonjour. Ça va?
Julie asks, you traveled to India
Yes.
for a movie.
Yes.
Where else would you like to travel, and would you like to go to France?
I would not like to go to France, Julie. It seems like a horrible... No. Julie, Paris, France, c'est vraiment c'est une destination que je vraiment voudrais. I would really like to go. I'm going to drop the French there. Yeah, I would love to be. For me, the idea of having a kind of big international career in life is the ultimate goal. Toronto is obviously beautiful, but I wanted to start expanding out. I was in Buenos Aires, Argentina, a year and a half ago or something like that, and to be in South America is extraordinary. France is always actually, and this is not just because of usually, although somewhere that I've actually thought of myself at some point of actually living.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oddly. I don't know why. So I would love to, but shooting on location is pretty spectacular. Mm-hmm. It's really spectacular because you don't get a chance to actually travel 2-3 days here, 2-3 days there. You kind of end up localizing in such a way that you get to know the local flavor. And shooting in India really opened that up for me, where you're kind of in one location for 3-4 months. And I'd love to do that in France. I'd love to do that in South America. All over the world, all over Europe. Yeah.
Great. The next one is from Brazil, oddly enough.
Weird.
Jacqueline from Bahia, Brazil.
Okay, Bahia.
Lester is my favorite Buy More character.
What's the matter with you, Jacqueline?
He is so cynical.
Yes.
I just laugh out loud and get my peeps thinking I'm just as nuts as he is.
Wow.
Where do you get the inspiration for the character? Because it must come from some dark places.
You're right. Listen, we've all had heartbreak and disappointment in our lives, Jackie, if I may. And I need to just draw from that and spout out his bile. It's not pleasant to be in that place day in and day out, but it's vital for his engine. For his dark engine, and you need help. You need a lot of help.
and then Kat, no location, asks.
Oh, Kat, where are you?
What has been your favorite "Don't make me scared to be alone with you, Jeffrey" moment?
Listen, at every moment that Lester is near Jeffrey, there's a feeling of that. It gets bigger and smaller. Jeff has a tendency to go into some very odd, sometimes sexual places that I think even Lester, with his darkness, gets a quiet fear of. And so anytime that Jeff goes there, Lester wants to run and protect himself. Jeff also has a violent side that Lester needs to protect himself from. So in general, as crazy and cracked up as Lester is, Jeff is more so. More so. Wait. More so. All right, go on.
And the last one, Gildish, wrote in on Twitter and said very simply, please let Vik know that he's appreciated and makes Canada proud.
Oh.
The whole country, apparently.
Wow. Every single person?
Yeah.
Or you mean just the actual earth of it?
He's a very good actor who puts a lot of detail into his work.
What's that fellow's name?
Gildish.
Gildish. Thank you. That actually means a lot. I don't feel appreciated by Canada. No, I really appreciate that. You've caught me at a weird, sincere moment now. You caught me off guard. Now I dislike you, but thank you. Thank you, man.
And so that's it for the fan questions.
Wow.
But I guess next up is just what's next up for you?
Well, I am the monstrosity that you see here on my girlish visage is for a film that I'm shooting now. I'm kind of on a little break from called Afghan Luke and the Burgundy of Hash. Very different than Chuck. It's about Canadian journalists who go to Afghanistan kind of looking for insane angles on a story, and I played one of these journalists. Darker, much darker, dramatic, if you will. And so we're in the middle of shooting that now. And it's kind of, it's kind of interesting. It's interesting to it feels like I'm revisiting Chuck right now because I'm kind of immersed in that world. Spent today talking to Globe and Mail reporters who have been embedded over there in the midst of that research. So that's what's up right now.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, can't wait to see it.
Don't watch it. Don't watch it.
Well, really, really appreciate you being with us.
Absolutely my pleasure, man.
And great to finally meet you.
Yeah, I know. We've been circling each other for 15 years.
Yeah. So thanks so much.
Thank you, buddy. All right, we shook hands and now we're going to sit here awkwardly.
And that's all we have for Vik's interview. It was awesome to meet him. He's a great guy in person, as I'm sure wouldn't surprise you, and just funny as all get out. We actually spent quite a bit of time after the interview hanging out and drinking some beers, and he's a great guy. And actually another guy I drank some beers with is Scott Krinsky. I went to one of his shows in Los Angeles in September, and it was great to be able to chat with him via Skype, and that is what's coming up next. So I want to welcome Scott Krinsky to the podcast, and of course we met back in September. It's great to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. Not live, but I mean, not in person, but
yeah. Well, as close as we can get, and technology's pretty cool.
Technology's amazing, so
yeah. And so you're wrapped. You've been wrapped for a few weeks now.
Yeah, it's probably been about 6 weeks. Yeah, 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what have you been up to in your break?
I did a little traveling. Yeah, went to Italy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I guess you missed Zach. He was
well.
there.
We were emailing. I didn't know he was going, and then I think I had heard he was going, and so we kind of like were crisscrossing different countries, and or different cities in Italy, and so we kind of missed each other, but we were communicating, and and then I think he's gone on to some other countries in Europe as well. So
cool.
Yeah, it was an amazing trip. I've never been to Italy, so it's a beautiful country, and of course the food is just out of this world.
Wow. Very cool. And you get some more time off, right? When do you guys start shooting season 4?
They haven't let us know yet, but I think probably I'm thinking sometime in July, maybe.
Cool. So you gonna do any shows now that you're back?
Yeah, I'm doing a show with Mark Christopher Lawrence.
Oh, great.
Yeah, down near him in Solano Beach on Tuesday night, June 1st.
Oh, great.
Yeah, at North Coast Rep. So me and Mark will be doing a show together, some stand-up.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's talk about Jeffster, because of course this is the Jeffster Special. So we're gonna go back in time, and I want you to tell me about when you, because I understand you're not a musician.
No.
And so when you first heard the concept that you were going to be this musician, how did you feel? What went through your mind?
Scared. Yeah, like nervous. Yeah, I mean, it's I'm not, I don't play any instruments, and I'm not, you don't want to hear me sing really. So I was a little nervous, definitely. And it's scary, like how are we going to pull this off? I'm just terrified. And plus, wait, we work at the Buy More, we're these nerds, and now you're going to turn us into musicians. And, but I think it's evolved, and it's really turned into something fun. Terrifying, but fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so what would you say it's meant for the Jeff character? I mean, certainly, first of all, we see you a lot more on screen now. And I know Vik shared with us that it's actually changed even people when they see him on the street, how they react to him. How have you seen a difference?
Yeah, I mean, of course, they're, the Chuck fans, but then you get the Jeffster fans. So, it's sometimes you see people on the street and, they're like, Jeffster! So, yeah, that's like the first thing they'll say is Jeffster, or
And what about for the character? Because we do see you a lot more in the storylines now.
Yeah, it's great. It's been great. It's been great to have to kind of evolve with the characters and the relationship between Jeff and Lester through Jeffster as well. It's been great, and it's provided us with some storylines, outside of the spy story, sort of outside of the Buy More a little bit. So that's been really nice, to have that little bit of an arc.
Yeah. Well, and I really love the fact that, when you first see Jeff and Lester, they seem like, no offense, but they seem like nobodies. But then you get a storyline like discovering your missile command past.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, there's actually something to these characters.
Still a nobody, but...
Yeah. Well, back to a nobody, I guess.
He had a moment of glory, a moment that he could have been...
Yeah.
Something bigger than he was,
Very, very, very cool. Well, now by this time, because this is airing after the finale,
yes,
people will have seen the climactic sequence, and you're right in there. The music video plays a key part in the finale. How did that feel?
That was that. I think you've seen some of the pictures. They've leaked them out or whatnot, but. It's going to be pretty. I think it's going to be pretty ridiculous. And, the finale is going to be great, amazing finale. But that music video is just going to be, absolutely ridiculously fun.
Yeah.
We've dressed up as. I don't know what they leaked out. You saw the photos though, but we're in a few different get-ups and.
Yeah, cool.
And it was a lot of fun doing it. That was like my first music video. Obviously, I'm not a musician. So.
Yeah, cool. And so let's take it back to your process. Like now, of course, you're not singing. Well, you do a little bit of the background.
A little bit of backup vocals sometimes, yeah.
And so what's the typical process for you when they say there's going to be a Jeffster song?
Well, yeah, Vik goes in and records and with Tim, and sometime on a few of the songs I've done a little bit of backup vocals, but basically, I kind of come into it when we're ready to film. I've worked with Tim and some of the guys on the crew trying to just, because I'm not really playing, but I want to sort of, try to be a little bit authentic and using my hands and with the keyboards or the guitar or the keytar, trying to, give some credibility to the uncredible Jeffster.
Well, and talk about that a little bit, because Tim has described that in order to make the music work, where you're really the only musician, it has to look like you're this crazy, awesome musician. Mm-hmm. And yet you also have to balance that with playing the Jeff character, who's kind of a little bit vacant up here.
Well, I think, we all probably have our sort of vacant sides and, where we're a little aloof, and then we all have our things that we're really good at. So, so for Jeff, he's got all his craziness, but, his music is definitely something that he's good at. So I think it's sort of a place, the music is something that focuses the character.
Yeah.
And so and he gets a lot of joy, obviously, out of playing with Lester.
Yeah.
It's his moment of glory,
Yeah. Well, I guess after Missile Command, Jeff used the skills that he had learned with Missile Command and applied them to music.
Yeah, his finger skills, clicking buttons, and now he's playing music.
Yeah. So, you worked a couple of times with Tim Jones. Then, what is that like when you actually go into the studio?
It's amazing watching Tim, because he's a composer, and it's just interesting. Like I'm learning as well, just going in there, and I don't even quite understand what he's doing, but it's interesting just to learn how he can, play with the music and do different things with the recordings and create, the Jeffster sound, because we're doing these covers, but yet we're sort of making them our own. So, and you have to give a lot of credit. Tim's amazing with what he does.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of been a learning experience for me as well to see that.
Mm-hmm. And now you watch the episodes, right?
Yeah, yes. I haven't seen the last few because I was out of town for a few weeks. So,
what's your reaction when you hear the finished product?
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, it's Jeffster. So it's like, it's beautifully horrible in some way. It's like, it's amazing what he's created, it's like, because it has to be like it has to be this cover, but it has to be made, to sound, I think he's really given us a unique sound. So it's really interesting to see what it comes out to sounding like.
Yeah. Well, and yet at the same time, you do an unplugged episode. And I thought that sounded actually quite good.
Yeah, that was, Vik, and Vik's amazing. I mean, he's a really good singer, so it's, that was kind of fun, to do that and, to sing sort of a softer, kind of more mellow song too. I thought it came off well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. For Jeffster.
Yeah. And your process was a little bit different on the, there was an episode that aired just recently where it was Jeff without the stir, and you were just doing some Jeff.
Oh yeah, because I was trying to break out on my own.
Yeah, and they actually took that and then recorded the music after that, which is kind of different.
That was I think they call that the T-Pain, the rapper, that sound where they put it through some sort of synthesizer or to give it that. I don't know if that's the word for it, but so I just recorded that on set when we filmed the scene, and then they go in and Tim goes in and adds all that effect to it.
And action! Ooh, my name is Jeff. Jeff. That's right, I said my name is Jeff. Jeff. Ooh, my name is Jeff. Jeff. That's right, I said my name is Jeff. Jeff. That's good, son. It might be a little lyrically lacking.
So I go from bad to worse, and we see why Jeff needs Lester.
Yeah, and then we get to recording the music video. We talked about it a little bit, but what was it like to record it? Was it fun? Was it different? The unique experience, obviously.
Yeah, well, it's different doing the video, obviously, than like when you're filming a scene that's sort of more part of the narrative of the episode. Of course, music videos have all their symbolic themes and stuff going on in them. So, I think from some of the pictures that you've seen that have been leaked out, we're decked out in these wild costumes and cowboys and Indians and whatnot. So, so we have a lot of stuff that it's sort of like this alternate Jeffster world, I guess, in the music video, and showing a little skin here and there.
Cool. And so now let's move on a little bit towards season 4. What's your hope for the Jeff character and also for Jeffster? What you're going to see in season 4?
It's really interesting. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. And you'll see why when you see the finale of the episode. But I hope with Jeffster, we continue to evolve as a band and we get better and better. That somebody might hire us someday. Yeah. And we'll get a big mall tour around America. The Jeffster Mall Tour. We'll do the Buy More tour. We'll perform in all the Buy More stores.
Maybe bar mitzvahs.
Bar mitzvahs, state fairs. I don't know about a wedding. We probably wouldn't want to ruin anybody's wedding day, but
been there, done that. I guess.
Yeah, exactly. We've already ruined one wedding close to home.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fun to just see that relationship with Lester evolve and see what happens with the band. And I think for Jeff, just I thought like that. It's interesting to see characters find out about Chuck's world, that he's a spy, but I also think there's a lot of fun to be had with, especially with Jeff, just his aloofness to being within the spy world, but not knowing it and not knowing what's going on around him, and having one idea of what's happening, and the other people around him have another idea. So, I'm looking forward to more of that.
Yeah.
And I also I've always kind of bugged the writers about exploring, Jeff's mother, because we know she's in jail, and it'd be just interesting to see, does she get out, and is there a reunion between Jeff and his mom, and she's got this criminal background, so maybe that could tie into a storyline somehow, and it'd be fun to maybe somehow she gets involved in something with her criminal background.
Yeah.
And, so.
Or Jeff's mom is Mama Bartowski.
Yeah, right.
They don't know.
I'm like a half sibling of Bartowski's.
Yeah.
Of course, my sister is the stripper, that we had at Awesome's bachelor party. So.
Yeah.
It's a great family lineage I come from.
Yeah.
I'd say that Jeff is actually doing the best, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very cool. So Chuck is coming in the fall, and you've got a couple more months off. So tell me, how can fans find you when you're doing shows?
Facebook, yeah. I put everything. I have a page on Facebook and MySpace, but mostly through the Facebook page. I kind of keep everybody alert of what's going on and shows, and that's a good way to find me.
Mm-hmm. And are you on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter, Scott _ Krinsky.
Cool. So they can find you there. And do you update both?
Yeah. Facebook, probably a little bit more on the Facebook than I do tweeting.
Cool.
But and also, I have a film that I did with Mark. Mark's in it. Mark Christopher Lawrence and Patricia Ray that played Bologna, Morgan's mother. We did a film called Silver Lake Video, the movie. It takes place it's like kind of like a Clerks in a video store, and that's in the Dances with Films festival here in LA.
Oh, cool.
And it's going to be screening Thursday night, June 10th at 7 o'clock at the Laemmle Sunset 5 theaters on Sunset Boulevard.
Great. And you said June 1st you have a show, live show with Mark?
With Mark, stand-up show, June 1st, Tuesday night.
Very, very cool. And I've caught one of your shows before. They're very, very good. So
thank
I hope
you for coming.
if fans are in LA, make sure you check out Scott's shows. And I almost forgot. Liz, one of the co-hosts on the podcast, also does work with a website called Nice Girls TV, and she interviewed an actress, Deborah Puett,
Deborah Puett,
Puett, and she said to say hi. When she heard we were doing this interview, she said, "Oh, you got to say hi to Scott."
Yeah, me and Deborah go way back. Good. Well, hello, Deborah.
Yeah,
I'll see her. I'm sure I'll see her around LA soon.
Yeah, very, very cool. So, are there any other shows or projects we can promote?
I'm waiting to hear on a few things. So hopefully, I will have some good news to report to you guys and put it on the Chuck TV.
Very, very cool. So Scott, I so much appreciate your time. Hopefully I'll be back in LA soon to see another of your shows. But thanks so much for being part of the Jeffster Special.
Well, thank you, Gray. Thank you for your support of the show.
Great. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And we're back. And this is not the end, because we have some sponsors to thank, and also we're going to tell you about part 2 and what you can expect from that. But really excited to announce that we have a new sponsor who is sponsoring the Jeffster Special and our finale podcast for next week, and that is Brunel's Web Solutions. It's a web design company that offers custom website design, web marketing, CMS integration, that's WordPress, and also programming. And if you're interested, you can check out their website at www.brenews.com. www.brenelz.com. That's for Americans, www.brenelz.com. And the owner, Brenley, happens to be a Chuck fan. You can follow him on Twitter at BRENELZ or Z for Canadians.
We also want to thank our longtime sponsors, moviemorons.com. It's a podcast about film. If you're a fan of film and enjoy listening to intelligent discussion, not moronic discussion, check out moviemorons.com. And, of course, our sponsors, SyrianJunkies.de. They're with us for another year. They're the largest television fan site in Germany. They, of course, cover Chuck as well as a bunch of other shows. So if you are a fan of television and are fluent in German, check out SyrianJunkies.de for all the latest news on your favorite television shows.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to start to wrap things up for part 1. But we do want to remind you to check out all of our episodes on blip.tv. You may be wondering what you can do over the summer. Of course, one of the things you can do during the Chuck hiatus is go back and watch all the episodes of Chuck. And you can also go back and watch all the episodes of the podcast that go along with the episodes. And there's tons and tons and tons of interviews. As a matter of fact, we've been putting out, I think, about 2 podcasts a week for the last 2 or 3 months. And I'm sure there's episodes you've missed. So check them out at blip.tv.
That's right. And keep talking to us. Keep sending in those emails and commenting. And, you know where to send those emails. And if you don't, just mail us at mail@chuckpodcast.com.
And we don't have any spoilers for this week, but we do have is another podcast. So part 2 should be already available on blip.tv. Wherever you found part 1, you're going to find part 2. And it's got the behind the scenes look, including an interview with musician Eugene Edwards, and also composer Tim Jones, and a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff. You're going to love it. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye, Chucksters.